All right, guys, we are live. It is Tuesday, the 8th of April, and I got a great show for you. We got Karoline Leavitt. It's going to be coming out here in just a second, gracing us with her presence. She's elegant. She's beautiful. She's fucking intelligent. She's everything that a woman should be, guys. And she's going to be out here to, whoa. Here she is, actually.
You guys ready? Great. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? Good
Looking
to see
great.
you all. I have a few announcements off the top today. On April 14th, President Trump will welcome President Bukele of El Salvador for an official working visit here at the White House.
Hey,
they
what's
will
up,
discuss
guys?
El Salvador's
Uzi.
partnership on using their Supermax prison for Tren de Aragua and MS-13 gang members and how El Salvador's cooperation...
Hey, Uzi, I just watched Finland dominate women's indoor pentathlon. What was the girl's name? Van Nimer, something like that. I just watched her win the pentathlon. Gorgeous. She's fucking gorgeous, bro.
On April 17th, President Trump will welcome Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy for an official visit at the White House as well. The president's thoughts also remain with the families and communities experiencing devastating loss from the severe storms and flooding affected several states across the central U.S. President Trump approved emergency declarations for Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee, allowing FEMA to provide federal assistance like equipment and resources.
Oh, no, you didn't have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, I watched it.
Response on the ground. Last
I don't know
night,
if you had
the
heard of
Supreme
that.
Court delivered a massive legal victory to the Trump administration and allowed us to continue removing foreign terrorist
Yeah, you didn't do
invaders
anything.
under the Alien Enemies
The
Act.
young lady did it.
This was a smackdown to a rogue left-wing, low-level district court judge who have relentlessly tried to stop President Trump from using his core constitutional powers as head of the executive branch and as commander-in-chief. The highest court in the land made it clear that the President of the United States has the power to protect our homeland and forcibly remove foreign terrorists who pose a grave threat to families and communities. Thank you to the Supreme Court for upholding the rule of law and protecting the Constitution. Our message to the monster Tren de Aragua and MS-13 terrorists still hiding illegally inside our country is clear. Deport yourself now, or you will be locked up.
Deport yourself. That's what the White House is saying now.
On another matter, the historic liberation...
I saw Pam Bondi come out, and she said, your best option is to deport yourself now, or you're going to wind up in El Salvador prison. That sounds like a great place to die. That sounds like a great place to be raped to death.
Day announcement last week by President
Hey,
Trump
Tam, what's going on?
That the era of American economic surrender is over. President Trump is no longer going to allow American workers and companies to be ripped off at the hands of foolish trade practices that shipped away millions of high-paying jobs and hollowed out communities across the country.
Number 2 from Netherlands, though, is way hotter. Doctor, her name was. I remember her name. She was fucking hot as shit, bro. If you guys got a minute, watch that shit. Women's indoor pentathlon. Fucking Netherlands, dude, is fine as shit, bro.
It's America first, all the way.
Finland looks alright, but Netherlands, boy,
the
woo!
world is clearly responding to President Trump's approach. Just yesterday, President Trump held a bilateral meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu here at the White House. The Prime Minister pledged to immediately eliminate America's trade deficit with Israel and remove their trade barriers. Israel's proactive approach should serve as a model for the rest of the world. Also yesterday, the President spoke with Japan's Prime Minister, who wants to negotiate as well. The President also spoke to the acting President of South Korea this morning. He has tasked Secretary Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer to lead these talks. In total, since the Liberation Day announcement, nearly 70 countries have already reached out to the President to begin
70 countries, guys.
Countries are falling over themselves to reform their unfair trade practices and free open their markets to our country.
Yes, and it's my understanding that the tariffs are not going away. The tariffs are not going away, guys. Donald Trump is going to keep a minimum tariff with every country. He wants 10%. Will it be 10%? I don't think so. I think that that's a negotiation tactic. But it's going to be several percent, right? 3, 4, 5. The average trade tariff right now, as I understand it, is about 4%. So I imagine he's going to maybe keep it around 10%, probably in most instances, guys. Probably. We're going to look into this. I'm actually looking into this, and we're actually going to see like what we really think Donald Trump is.
Why?
Not today,
because
but it's something I'm working on.
Greatly respect President Trump in the sheer power of the American market. These countries realize they've gotten filthy rich over the past few decades by imposing substantial tariffs on American-made products.
Oh yeah, it's a nice day in Oregon, I bet.
Non-monetary barriers to block out American industry. The jig is up. Past American presidents sat by and let this happen, but President Trump stood up for our country, and he is saying no more. The president's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and he will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficits.
Yeah.
America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us.
That is true.
He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership.
China has fallen into the terror. Oh no! Oh, hey, we're back, I guess. Oh, yeah. So, I am doing very good, Raymond J. Yes, so Donald Trump has lured China into the tariff trap, just like I had predicted. When China raises its tariff on U.S. goods, what it does is it further divests U.S. businesses from China, and when we raise our tariffs on Chinese goods, it further divests Chinese businesses from the United States. And so, when these tariffs go into place in a retaliatory measure, right, we benefit by bringing those companies back to America, by strengthening American companies, American products, and marching them out on the world stage. Okay, so this is actually a good thing. So let China huff and puff and do what they will, because quite frankly, I would rather pay 2 or 3 times more for a USB card that I don't have to repair every week, right? Okay, let's go.
He is guided by a firm belief that America must be able to produce essential goods for our own people and export them to the rest of the world. A strong America cannot be solely dependent on foreign countries for our food, medicines, and critical minerals. And America must always maintain a robust defense supply chain. Reprioritizing and strengthening our manufacturing industry are essential national and economic security issues of the utmost importance to President Trump. By focusing on supercharging the onshoring of American manufacturing, the president is already delivering on his promise to usher in an economic golden age for our country. Just look at Friday's jobs report, which smashed expectations for the second straight month. The American economy added 228,000 jobs.
And those aren't fake jobs.
More jobs than economists predicted, and the 4th highest month for private payroll growth in the past 2 years. There was also a sharp increase in transportation, construction, and warehousing employment. And in just 11 weeks,
See?
President Trump has secured
Yes.
more than $1.5 trillion.
Not government and medical jobs that are government adjacent, right? No. Manufacturing, warehouse, right? Real jobs.
$1 billion in private sector investment. This is $500 billion more than Joe Biden secured in his entire term.
Ha!
Sector investment will create
Oh, yeah, remember.
American jobs and counting.
Remember, Joe Biden gave Intel $150 billion to build plants in Ohio, right? Donald Trump got $1.5 trillion investment in a couple months.
If you add up all of the investment pledges from foreign governments, President Trump has secured an incredible $5 trillion in total investments already.
$5 trillion.
Ahead, President.
$5 trillion. I don't know if I believe those numbers, and those are secured, not actual, right? They haven't actuated, right? I don't know about it. We'll see what pans out, but that's an incredible amount of bullshit. I'll tell you that.
Trump's pro-growth economic agenda will be fully realized. The largest deregulatory effort in American history is underway. Unnecessary, burdensome, costly red tape is being eliminated by this entire federal government every day, driving down costs and massively boosting.
Hey, what's up, Harlot? Hey, what's up, Mike?
Trump's deregulation effort
Mr. King
saved Americans more than $180 billion, equivalent to $2,100 per family of 4. The president's drill baby drill energy agenda, which we'll discuss later this evening in the East Room, is capitalizing on the abundance
Trump's coming back
of
out, it sounds like.
resources under our feet.
I guess we'll see Trump later tonight.
Electricity, cheap gas, and quality new jobs. All of this will combine to end the Biden-imposed cost of living crisis that's absolutely crushed American families. Under President Trump, the American energy industry will lead the globe over the next century, delivering lower prices and significantly strengthening our country's economic position. At the president's direction, Republicans in Congress are working quickly to pass one big, beautiful bill, which will also include the largest tax cut in American history. As President Trump has said, the House must pass this budget resolution quickly. Here in our new media seat today, we have Jasmine Wright, the White House reporter for Notice. Notice is a nonprofit and nonpartisan news site which launched in early 2024. They've gained millions of readers across the country since. Newsroom's goal is both to inform readers and train the next generation of politics and policy journalists. They also partner with state newsrooms and to give local communities more knowledge of what their representatives are doing in Washington, D.C. With that, please kick us off.
Okay, she gets the first question. I like that. I like that they let the new people, like the independent journalists, ask the first question now. But it's also like a stacked question too, right? They're obviously bringing in people that are going to ask good questions, right? They may have even, been given a menu of questions to ask, possibly. I don't know, maybe, right? I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, I agree, Raymond. Trump is going to change things, right? Right, and so far, it looks like he's winning. These companies and countries are lining up to beg for mercy, right? We're already seeing it. Many countries have already reduced their tariffs to 0, hoping that will give them a break, but it hasn't. Right? Israel came begging for a handout and they got nothing. They got nothing, guys. Nothing. 10% is what they got. Now, let's go.
A couple questions for you. The first one being, can you explain the White House's evolution from this is not a negotiation on tariffs to countries should pitch us and start negotiations on tariffs?
As the president said yesterday, Jasmine, both things can be true at the same time. And it is a non-negotiable position that the United States has faced a national
I agree, Raymond.
Economic crisis.
I wish they would have.
Unfair trade practices.
They should have never. They should have never sent everything over to China in the first place. I was against that. I did. I'm not going to say I didn't like all the cheap goods for practically free. Right? I did. I love $1 sound cards. Right? But they suck. I have to repair them all the time. Also. So there's that.
As for the president, I have maintained this position. The entire administration has always said that President Trump...
Real estate will always be great.
And the president met with his trade team this morning.
No matter what you can buy or sell it for, it's always a good value.
Deals with each and every country that calls up this administration to strike a deal. And listen, and each and every one of these trade deals should be tailored and unique based on that country's markets, based on that country's exports, the imports here in the United States of America. What makes the most sense for the American worker and for our industry,
and for our future,
America first.
Right? Yeah, costs are going to go up on some things. And since we have offshored all of our manufacturing, it's going to be a lot of things for in the short term anyway, right? In the short term. But eventually, once we onshore all that stuff back here in America, those costs will go back down. And you will be making more money. Yes. Yeah, well, Uzi, I've seen other estimates around 800 to 1 billion, but definitely not 1.5 billion. Yes, I agree. Uzi. China does not have the population that they claim. I agree. They're a bunch of liars.
So was the evolution not factored in or determined by kind of the tumult?
It's unlikely. It's unlikely China's population is above 1 billion people.
That there was an evolution. On day one, we had said that the president will always pick up the phone for other nations and other companies that call this administration. The president always has a listening ear. And it's a non-negotiable fact that America has faced a national security and economic crisis for many decades, and President Trump is just the first to address this.
And then my last question, how will negotiations change how much revenue the White House is planning to make from the tariffs?
Well, that has yet to be seen, but as the president said, the reciprocal tariffs, which will continue to go in effect as these deals are negotiated and ongoing, will generate trillions of dollars in revenue to the United States. And this is twofold. The president wants to onshore jobs here to the United States of America. He wants to boost our manufacturing industry.
It is a tidal wave. You are correct, Raymond.
Crippling deficits with almost every
I believe that's what you meant, a tidal wave.
Thank you, Karoline. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, warned
it's a red tidal wave!
Up to months, that we could be doing this through April, May, and into June, and then you had
a red tidal wave of perfectly controlled and calculated chaos. It's a controlled demolition of America's ties to foreign everything, right? We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna bring oil production back home. We're gonna bring manufacturing back home. We are going to make our own toilets again. Make America's toilets again.
Kevin Hassett say it's going to take a lot for the president to put his signature on the line, because he wants to make sure there's a good deal for America. Is the president operating on any sort of a timeline or deadline where he wants this completed by?
Well, we always move at Trump speed here at the White House.
Yes, blindingly fast.
You all know that from covering this White House day to day. The president likes to get things done. But he's very much focused on ensuring that these deals are good for the American worker, they are good for American manufacturing, and again, that they tackle these crippling deficits with these countries. All options are on the table for each country, but again, these are going to be tailor-made deals. They are not going to be off-the-rack deals, as the president has called it, and he has directed his entire
off
team
the
to be
rack.
part of this
The
effort.
guy
That
is so
includes
fucking
Secretary
classy.
Bessent and our National Economic Director, Kevin Hassett. It also includes Secretary Lutnick, Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, Jamison Greer, who was on the Hill today.
Who will buy U.S. bonds after we piss everybody off?
Fair reciprocal trade agenda will continue to be involved.
People that want to make money, right? Because when you buy, here's the thing. When you buy American bonds, you are betting on the rise of GDP of the American worker, right? You are betting on the GDP of America, right? That it will pay off your bond, right? So, if America is manufacturing and growing at a greater rate, then those bonds will pay off at a higher rate. So, yes, everybody will buy those bonds. It doesn't matter. I don't, right? Only leftists, right, crash companies that they're making money off of, right? Right? Only leftists crash Tesla for ideological reasons, right? Only leftists destroy their retirement for ideological reasons. Everybody else, right? Everybody else hates war but buys Raytheon, right? Because that's just how it is. That's where the money's at. So, yeah. Right? Right?
Yesterday, Goldman Sachs put out a research note. It put the odds of a recession at 45% within the next 12 months, up from 35%. But Peter Navarro guaranteed last night no recession. Does the president agree with him on that? I know that the president in the past has been leery of making definitive statements on that.
I can speak for the president, and I can speak for the optimism that he sees in our economy every day. Again, when you talk about the massive deregulatory efforts that are happening across the board, when you talk about how oil prices are down, gas prices are down, egg prices are down, we're cutting costs for the American worker, for the American consumer. We also see trillions of dollars of investments pouring into this country every day, and we're working hard now on the tariff side of the president's economic agenda. But don't forget, the next side of this is tax cuts, and we're counting on Capitol Hill to get those done, the largest tax cuts in history.
Does that mean that without those tax cuts coming through, that the likelihood of a recession is greater?
No, that's not what I said. I'm just saying be mindful of the whole of government economic approach that this administration is taking every day. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. You just said that one of the reasons these tariffs are going into effect is that some countries have been ripping off the United States, but some of the tariffs target countries like Madagascar, Bangladesh, with very high levels of poverty. So can you explain how the president wants to correct the deficit with those countries? Is there a plan, for example, to onshore the textile industry that these countries are known because, and, you know, just like, can you be specific about those like low income?
Sure. Well, first of all, the reciprocal tariff rates that were implemented by country were focused on the monetary tariff that those countries have imposed on the United States, but also the non-monetary tariff barriers and the regulations, if you will, that have been put into effect over the years, making it harder for America to export to these countries. These were very carefully crafted numbers. There was also a 10% baseline tariff across the board, as well, as you know.
Remember that 10% baseline, guys. That's here to stay.
Picks up the phone to
According
call,
to Trump, that's here to stay.
Ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to the
that is the new entry price
to try to strike a deal, and it's because the world knows that they need the United States.
Now that sounds bad, but you will only see about 3% of that. Okay, the company will eat about 7% of that tariff in order to do business here. They just will. You will see about 3% increase. Okay, guys. That's how it works.
America. They need our markets. They need our consumer. The president has a lot of leverage on his side because he has the best economy and the best country in the world that he leads, and he knows that. And it's about dang time we finally have a president who uses that economic leverage to benefit American workers. And that's what the president is trying to do. Maggie.
Caroline, thanks. Does the president endorse something that Howard Lutnick said on television this weekend, which was that the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to be moving to the U.S.? Is that how the president envisions manufacturing shifting? And if so, how long would that take, roughly?
The president wants to increase manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America, but he's also looking at advanced technologies. He's also looking at AI and emerging fields that are growing around the world that the United States needs to be a leader in as well. So there's an array of diverse jobs, more traditional manufacturing jobs, as you discussed, but also jobs in advanced technologies. The president is looking at all of those. He wants them to come back home.
iPhones specifically, is that something that he thinks is the kind of technology that can move to the U.S.?
Yeah,
absolutely. He believes we have the...
Let him. Let let people join BRICS, right? Let the lines be drawn, huh? Then let's time to separate the wheat from the chaff then, isn't it? If that's how it goes, that's how it goes, right? It's going to happen anyway. If that's what will happen, that's what will happen, right? It's better it happens now than when we're not ready for it, right? It's better that we do it than they do it, right?
The labor, we have the workforce, we have the resources to do it.
It's better that we hold the cards, right?
$500 billion here in the United States. So if Apple didn't think the United States could do it, they probably wouldn't have put up that big chunk of change. Elena.
Hi, Caroline. It's clear the president has found the world's attention with these tariffs. Is he considering at all potentially holding off on imposing some of them before the deadline, or maybe later, reversing them because he's having these negotiations and having these good talks with other leaders?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday. He said he's not considering an extension or a delay. I spoke to him before this briefing. That was not his mindset. He expects that these tariffs are going to go into effect. And you said something very important, Elena, in your question. You said the president has captivated the attention.
Like I said, guys, 10% equals 3% extra that you will pay. You can afford 3%. You can afford 3% on your fucking French wine, right? In order to bring winemaking back to America, right?
Of the world, absolutely he has. And it's about time we have a president in the Oval Office who is putting the world on notice and is putting the American people first, and again, is using the leverage of the United States to negotiate good trade deals.
Just a quick follow-up. Sure. There's been some public sparring between Elon Musk and the president's trade advisor, Peter Navarro.
Bruce Springsteen?
Navarro is being, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks. Are you at all, or is the administration, the president, all concerned that this is...
I love Bruce. I was singing Born in the USA on my way walking to Walmart the other day.
No, look, these are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue. And you guys should all be very grateful that we have the most transparent administration in history. And I think it also speaks to the president's willingness to hear from all sides, that he has people...
Do you know that Bruce Springsteen wrote Blinded by the Light, too? That's actually a Bruce Springsteen song. Another band did it, and they got famous for it. But Bruce Springsteen does it, or Bruce Springsteen also sings that song, and it sucks really bad when he does it. But when the other band does it, it sounds really good. But when Bruce Springsteen does it, it does not sound that good.
At the highest levels of this government in this
Hey, what's up, Felix?
Very diverse opinions on very diverse issues, but the president takes all opinions in mind, and then he makes the best decision based on the best interests of the American public. Deanna.
Thanks, Caroline. On Truth Social today, Trump was talking about one-stop shopping talks with foreign leaders, bringing leaders to the U.S., to Washington, and talking to them about tariffs, but also other topics. So is that part of his strategy to bring the leaders to Washington and trying to get deals, outside of tariffs on foreign policy issues as well?
I think the president, again, is going to have a custom, tailor-made approach to each and every country. And if that means...
Actually, it's my understanding that Bruce Springsteen wrote a lot of #1 songs that don't have it hit, that he did not sing or perform. It's my understanding that Bruce Springsteen wrote many, many, many of your favorite rock songs. Yes. I agree, yes. Manford Man. That's what they are. Yes. Yes, that's what they're called. Yes. Yes, that's a very good... When they did it, it's a very good song. But Bruce Springsteen wrote many songs that he's not famous for that are #1s.
Of our military.
That's my understanding. I don't know what ones, but apparently there's many of them.
That could be part of the negotiation in these economic negotiations, but it's the president's economic.
He's like the baby face of white people rock.
They will be one-stop shopping for each and every country. They will be, as the president said again, tailor-made, not off the rack, to each and every country based on America's needs.
Can you confirm? How are you? Good. So President Trump has designated Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization and deported its members while also moving to restrict Venezuela's oil exports. Is the administration preparing additional military or economic actions against Venezuela and the Maduro regime? And my second question is about Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Is the administration have a comment on her decision to go with the liberals and go actually with the Tren de Araguas? This is the same justice that actually sided against January 6th hostages last year. So is the administration have a comment? Are they disappointed in Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett?
To your first question, I don't have any actions to read out in terms of Venezuela. The president has imposed secondary tariffs on the Maduro regime and on Venezuela in the form
Fuck
of oil.
Venezuela.
Obviously going to have a crippling
Venezuela
effect
can
on the
lick my
Maduro
cock.
regime, and that's the intended effect of this administration. As for the justice you mentioned, as for the Supreme Court, we've made our feelings very clear. We believe that
their oil is stinky anyway.
Certainly, we wish this was a 9-0 decision because we firmly believe that the president was well within his constitutional authority. And
No,
the
it
Supreme
literally
Court,
stinks.
Made that very clear last night, and they put Judge Boasberg in his place.
Russian oil stinks. Venezuelan oil stinks. It literally stinks. You can smell it. American oil smells like fucking honey. It looks like honey. It smells like motherfucking gasoline. It does.
We called on this.
It comes out of the ground. Basically, it's gasoline.
Who are acting as judicial activists, not real arbiters of the truth and the law, and that's exactly what we saw the Supreme Court do yesterday. Christian.
Thanks, Caroline. Now that the president's reciprocal tariffs are here, going into effect tomorrow, what's the status of the ERS? When will they actually start?
Light sweet, yup, baby, that's what we call it.
Under CBP or somewhere else entirely?
It's something Secretary Lutnick has taken up, so I defer you to
their
Department
oil
of
literally
Commerce, but
stinks.
It's something that he and the president believe quite strongly in, and it's a promise that they intend to keep to the American people.
Real quickly, can you explain why the president opted to send Secretary Hegseth to the dignified transfer last week?
Secretary Hegseth was there to represent the administration. The president has expressed his condolences to these families, as have I from this podium. Shelby.
The president's trade representative this morning told senators that the president does not intend on carving out exemptions for products and companies when it comes to tariffs. Would the administration consider changing that stance should bankruptcies begin among U.S. companies who are dependent on China trade?
Also a
I
good
won't get ahead of the president on any exemptions or his decisions.
Also
on
a good
that.
band
I will leave that to
name.
him, but again, we're looking
Yeah.
at this country by country and based on the needs of the American people and the American
Light
workforce.
sweet.
Can you walk us
Man.
through how this
drink.
specific tariff plan was decided on and which advisor came up with it?
The reciprocal.
Yeah, I got good
It was
hash.
a plan that was discussed by the president's entire trade team over the course of
Very good hash.
meetings, and the president ultimately decided on which way to go. A few proposals were given to the president. There was debate and discussion, and the president made his decision. And as you've seen very publicly, the entire trade team is on board with this plan and the negotiations that will ensue because of it. Sure.
Caroline, on Iran, given what's going to be happening on Saturday, what exactly is the current administration doing to stop Iran's funding of terrorist aggression worldwide that the previous administration wasn't doing?
Well, first of all, when it comes to Saturday, I won't get ahead of the president. He has said there will be direct talks with Iran on Saturday. I won't further any details from this podium for obvious reasons, security reasons. It will, provide an update as we always have. However, when it comes to Iran, the president
Yeah,
has
plastic sucks, Felix. Yo, what up, Shep? Plastic sucks. You should get all stainless steel everything with 304 or 310. 310 is the best stainless steel. It's 15 to 25% nickel. I'm trying to get my hands on some of it. It's harder to find. But 304 is very common, and that's the good stuff. You want everything, man. You want your fucking cookware made out of that shit. It does not corrode. So, I can make it corrode, but I have to hit it with a lot of electricity, right? Yeah. So 304, that's the good stuff. Don't get the 4 series. It's iron and it will corrode. I can make it turn black actually. I have black stainless steel somewhere right around me right now. Yeah, so I can make it turn black.
Imposed crippling sanctions on the Iranian regime, and he's made it very clear to Iran they have a choice to make. You can strike a deal with the president, you can negotiate.
Yes,
or
you're
there will be
absolutely
hell to
true.
pay. And as the president said yesterday, if they don't choose to move forward with diplomacy and a deal, which is the direction we do see them headed in, there will be grave consequences to pay. To the back row.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Caroline. On the president's threat yesterday on social media to increase tariffs against China by an additional 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we should only use plastic for like things we don't put in our mouths. Like plastic bottles, plastic silverware, all that was a bad idea. I agree. Plastic straws was a bad idea. Not for any other reason than it's just bad for us, right? Like, I don't know who approved that. I'm going to say, I bet you money it was Donald Rumsfeld. This sounds like something that Donald Rumsfeld would have done. Yeah, I can't find any evidence of that, but this sounds like something that Donald Rumsfeld would have done. Was like, go in there and argue for why we should take poison. Right, like he did with aspartame. Yeah. Yeah, no, the plastic, guys. Listen to this. Okay. So when I make my battery out of your standard food can, I have to burn all the plastic off of it because the metal is coated in plastics. I have to burn all that plastic off of it, right? And it stinks and it's gross. I have to do it outside. It's so gross. Yeah. I have to like burn and I can watch it like the layer melt and rot off of it. That shit is all over the food cans. It's the same with the soda can. The inside of it has this plastic layer. I have to burn it off in order to expose the aluminum. Yeah. So the aluminum cans, the inside are coated in plastic. And so are the metal food cans. The steel cans. They're coated in it. Reminds me of the Batman movie, the mix of consumable items. Yeah, the Smilex gas. Well, what's the chances? Chances are you've already got it.
Percent in response to their retaliation. Has he signed anything in terms of an executive order, any documentation around that? Will that additional 50% go into effect tomorrow?
They will be going into effect at 12:01 a.m. tonight, so effectively tomorrow, yes.
Work on that today?
Of course, as always. To the gentleman in front of you, because that's who I originally called on. Go ahead.
Over the weekend, President Trump said that he would be willing to have U.S. citizens deported to El Salvador with the cooperation of President Bukele. How would that work legally, and how many people would potentially be available for that operation?
So the president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken
get them
our
the fuck
nation's
out.
laws repeatedly.
I don't see what the problem is.
These are violent repeat offenders.
They're like, oh, they didn't break the law. Yes, they did. They broke into the country. That's illegal. Get them the fuck out. Right? Whatever. Right? Now, me personally, my personal views is let them stay, right? We need them. But I'm not in charge, right? I put my faith in Donald Trump. If he says get him the fuck out, get him the fuck out. Let's go.
Offenders in American streets. The president has said if it's legal, right? If there is a legal pathway to do that, he's not sure. We are not sure if there is. It's an idea that he has discussed
But the man keeps winning. That's all I know. All I know is he keeps delivering, right? And I don't bite the hand that feeds me. And when the man keeps winning on my behalf, uh-oh. When the man keeps winning on my behalf, I keep giving him more credit and more confidence and more trust and faith, right? I don't trust easy. I don't put my faith into politicians. But a man like Donald Trump doesn't come along. Not since Ronald Reagan. Let's go.
very publicly as in the effort of transparency. Reagan.
Thank you, Caroline. There's been more reporting coming out now about President Biden's decline while in the White House. Is the White House considering releasing the audio of Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur to the public, which the former president had previously blocked?
I don't have an update on that, but I can certainly check. I think the American people would be quite interested to hear that tape, but I'll double check on the release of it. Thank you. Michael.
When we talk about entropy.
Saturday, during meetings with Iran.
Yeah, speaking of entropy. So, okay, so. Okay. Okay, so how my batteries work, right? Is we decay metals, right? We're decaying metals. We're using a decayed metal to suck the electrons out of a purer metal, right? And when we do that, we're decaying it, right? And this is how, okay. Okay, so how does galvanization work, right? Galvanization will tell you that the one metal has more positivity and one metal is more negative, right? One metal has less resistance, one metal has more resistance, right? And so the one that has the more resistance will suck the electrons out, right? Okay, so, but we flipped that on its head, right? We've gone and flipped that on its head, right? But we've pacified it, right? So, like, what we're doing, right? All right. I don't want to go into it. But I think I have a pet theory that I've always had that is independent of this, right? That relates to entropy as a force, right? And like entropic decay, right? As a driver of the universe, right? Like, in my theory, right, the Big Bang happens because the entropy starts at an almost zero value. And it increases over time. And the entropy, right, is like it divides into everything. So at first it doesn't do anything, right? But as space expands, entropy expands the space, by the way. So, yeah, so this is my pet theory. It's entropy as a force, right? And, because it unifies everything. And, my battery is an experiment. And the fact that I can keep doing it with different materials, by creating entropy at the bottom of the vessel, and sucking the shit out of the top. And now you guys don't even know. We're not going into it, but I have to say that there's a possibility that entropy could be a force. I want it to be true, so of course that's what I'm going to say, right? I want it to be true. So I'm tricking myself into believing it, I think. But what if it were true? All right, now... All right, let's go back. We're not talking about the battery anymore. Let's go back. All right.
President Trump says high-level officials will be meeting directly with Iranian officials. We're hearing some pushback from Iran now saying those talks will be indirect. Can you clarify?
They will be direct talks on Saturday, and I won't get ahead of the president on any further details. Jennifer.
Yeah, two things. On the Israel tariffs, can you give us an update on the discussion on relaxing those tariffs? And then I had another question about the Doge team after that.
That discussion is ongoing. I don't have any definitive details to iron out for you here.
And then the president on Thursday told us that there was an incredible discovery that the Doge team had made. He called it horrible and incredible. Can you reveal that yet? Give us details on what it was about?
There has been a discovery. I hate to leave you hanging on a cliff, but I don't want to get ahead of the president on that. But I can
so
confirm there has
Trump
been a
is coming
discovery.
out later
It's not
tonight,
yet.
and we're going to do that.
Go ahead.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
I was calling on the young lady behind you, but I'll
Let's
come
see if
to
we
you
can find
after,
it.
Ed.
All right.
Not discriminating here.
The president is meeting today with House Republicans. Can you say who is in that meeting and his message to Republicans that are skeptical of the Senate-passed budget framework?
Sure, the president
Okay,
will
it doesn't
be
say
meeting
anything
with,
about the time.
Republican
We'll figure it
lawmakers
out. I'm
today
going to
here
do
at
it in
the
a different
White
window.
House to talk to them about the framework that the Senate passed. The president was very quick to put out a statement about his support for the reconciliation package that the Senate passed, and he is counting on House Republicans to pass it. The Republicans received an overwhelming mandate from the American public to govern. We have an extraordinary opportunity. There are key promises that the president made to the American people in this bill: tax cuts, securing the border, deregulation, unleashing the might of American energy. These are good things for the American people. The president wants to see this get done, and that's why he's engaging with lawmakers today.
Just a quick follow-up on tariffs. Kevin Hassett said today that the administration is prioritizing talks with Japan and South Korea, other trading partners. Are there other countries on that list that you guys can name publicly that you're having serious discussions with?
Sure. As you have heard from various administration officials, myself included, there have been nearly 70 countries that have reached out to the administration. Last
70
time I checked,
countries,
but again,
guys.
I hear the phones are ringing off the hook. There are
Off the
leaders who want
hook.
to fly to Washington tonight and get on a plane to negotiate with this country, which shows you the leverage that the president is using. It shows you the rest of the world needs the United States of America to do business with. Israel, obviously, yesterday you heard a public statement from Prime Minister Netanyahu. The president has detailed his calls with the leaders of Japan, in South Korea. We are going to prioritize our allies and our partners around the world first when it comes to these negotiations, and the trade team will be divvying them up again to make tailor-made trade deals around the world. Ed, go ahead. As promised.
Yes, thank you. You mentioned the 70 countries or so. I'm curious, though, under what conditions at this point would President Trump talk to President Xi about tariffs?
Look, I just spoke to the president about this.
Fuck
and
Xi.
He believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China
Fuck
has to make a
China.
deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China. to
China.
retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. The president believes that Xi and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
What's best?
The Chinese want to make a deal, they just don't know how to do it, but the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
104%. I hope the man knows what he's doing. I believe in him. I believe in him. Okay? This is your test. Do you believe in him? Do you think he knows what he's doing? Or is he a madman? Has he failed his way to the top? Or are we about to win bigly? All right, let's go. 104%. 104% on China. Let's go. Tonight.
Tariffs on China.
Midnight,
It would be
bitch.
imprudent of me to tell you those conditions here from the podium. Sure, Gabe.
Thanks, Caroline. With regards to the Supreme Court ruling on the Alien Enemies Act, you're right. It was a win.
Hey, what's up,
for
B?
the administration, but the justices
104% on China, B.
Process. Does the administration agree with that?
That's.
We're back. Before we were so rudely interrupted, Donald Trump was considering drone strikes on Mexican drug cartels. Let's hear more about that.
Not sure, but I would defer you to the National Security Council.
Oh, we're not
So,
going to hear any more
you
about
haven't
that.
confirmed the report, but with Mexico's president saying that she rejects any of that, what would your response be? How is the relationship then between Mexico's president and the White House right now over targeting drug cartels?
Well, first of all, the relationship between President Sheinbaum and President Trump is quite good, and I think both world leaders would tell you that. The president has been engaged directly with President Sheinbaum on a number of different topics, particularly when it comes to clamping down on the Mexican drug cartels, on clamping down on illegal immigration, human trafficking, drug trafficking through our southern border. She's taken significant steps towards doing that, but as for that specific report, again, I'm not going to comment.
Karoline, two questions on trade. First, as a part of these negotiations, is it possible for countries to lower their tariffs below that 10% bare minimum that's been set?
Again, I'll leave that to the president to make those determinations, but I can tell you that 10% universal baseline will go into effect as these negotiations are ongoing.
Universal
What
baseline.
is your thinking just as far as low labor costs?
Everyone pays 10%. That's the minimum. That's the new zero. 10 is the new zero.
The people there are not paid as much as American citizens. What is kind of the thinking? Can they still?
And it sounds like it's non-negotiable, guys. Not even Israel could get it. Anything, 10%.
Will achieve a good kind of trade outcome with the United States?
Well, again, you're right to point out that different countries have different labor markets.
And if the Jews can't get a better deal, no one can get a better deal. I'll tell you that.
They have different skills, if you will, different resources, and the president is going to take all of that into account. His team will take all of that into account when they're negotiating these deals. I do just want to point out one thing.
I don't know.
That the president, everybody.
I think you're just noticing how nice her lips already were. Well, that's actually something I commented on the first day, how nice her lips were. So I think you're just noticing how pretty her lips actually are.
Or not, knows that this president is right when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to trade. In fact, Democrats have long said that the United States of America has been ripped off by the countries around the world. They just don't want to admit it now because it's President Trump who is saying that. In June of 1996, Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor. She urged her colleagues at the time to fight against the status quo trade policies that had contributed to America's trade deficit with China. In fact, Nancy Pelosi said, how far does China have to
pulling
go?
up pictures.
How much more repression? How big a trade deficit? How many jobs have to be lost for the American workers? How much dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? Those are the words of Nancy Pelosi in 1996. Well, President Trump is finally answering her call 27 years later. Nancy Pelosi can thank President Trump today for the 104% retaliatory tariff that will be going into effect on China.
Oh,
in
no.
2007, Chuck Schumer spoke of our nation's crippling trade.
No, here's
deficit,
one
saying,
from like a
"These are
year
the kinds
ago.
of
She
records
definitely
the
had those
American
lips.
People don't want us to be breaking. The administration
Oh, no, she
needs
definitely
to
had
move
those
beyond
lips.
words, take action now to reverse a trend that threatens our prospects for future economic growth. And Chuck Schumer said that in 2007. Finally, in 2025, President Trump is taking action. Recently defeated Democrat Sherrod Brown said on deficits in 2012 that our deficit then at China had reached an all-time high, and it was on pace to recede last year's record. The trade deficit had cost American workers millions of jobs at the time. These are the words of Democrats years ago. It is about time America finally has a president who is taking action to restore
All right,
millions
Uzi.
of jobs
Damn.
back to the United States of America. To boost
Damn,
our
Uzi lives in
manufacturing
the
industry.
hood.
He's doing.
Damn, Uzi, you live in the hood, bruh, like me, bruh. Bruh, you live in the bad neighborhood like me, man. That's cool. That's cool. I like it. Cool.
Doing what's right for the American people. It will take a lot of labor. It will take a lot of effort. That's exactly what the American people elected this president to do. He will be talking about our energy agenda at 3 o'clock today.
You guys call her a MILF?
Eastern, as you all know, he will be.
She's too young to be a MILF. MILFs now are like grandmas to me. I guess what people would consider grandmas now are MILFs in my world. So, yeah. She's definitely hot. But she's like, yeah. She's classy, but she's like young. So I don't. And she's gonna get fat. She's already kind of fat. I can already see it. Yeah, so.
Bill to
But besides
unleash
that,
the
she's
might of
very
our
pretty.
Beautiful, clean coal industry in this country.
There's
which
nothing
is a
wrong with being
reliable
big either.
Energy source.
Big
Also
girls
for
can
AI,
carry
there's a
it.
great
If they
story
can
in
carry it,
Bloomberg
they look
today,
good. I
actually,
like it.
about the
Right?
executive order that will be
There's
signed
some
later,
very
so we'll
pretty
see you
fat
all there.
girls.
let the
I'll tell you
president
that.
Speak more. We'll see you later. Thanks, guys.
But if she carries it right. Oh, speaking of hot MILFs. Did you guys know that Kayleigh McEnany's pregnant again? Yeah, so if you guys have a chance to check out Outnumbered on Fox, she's looking hot. She's like glowing. She's like, yeah, she like is radiantly beautiful when she is pregnant. So, yeah. That's something you might want to see. Just letting you know. But, I don't, what's up, SD? SD, my guy. What are you doing, bud? Yeah, no, but, single mothers actually is something I'm glad that I was able to open my mind to, because, you get to be the daddy, or you get to play house or whatever, and that's fun. That actually is rewarding. So, yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Good. I guess you're so you just like rotate out, in and out then, huh? So you have like times when you're off work and then times when you're at work, huh? When you're at work like 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then when you're home for like months, huh? That's pretty cool. That's a nice setup. That's a nice way to do it. You're like a fisherman, huh? That's the way to do it. Living large. Yeah. So, yeah. Battery experiments are going very well. We have stainless steel coming in the mail. So, it's, I ordered 0.1 millimeter 304 sheet foil, and what do we got here? Physics. Yeah, so I ordered the ooh. I'm reading something. Yeah. Yeah, Felix. Felix, do you know that you could take a piece of PVC pipe, right? Take a piece of copper and a piece of aluminum, put them in the pipe, right? Beat the pipe into the ground, beat the metal into the ground, and you have a battery that will give you like a volt or something. Right? You can take like I wonder what will happen. I want to put my iron and my my stainless in the ground and see what happens. Ooh, that would be fun. Would you guys like to see that video? Let's see what kind of earth batteries we can make with all the different metals I have. That would be interesting. I think it would be a fun experiment. I don't have any pipe though, so we can't. We can only connect them in parallel. So we can't ramp up the voltage. But if we have some pipe, we can ramp them up in series, and then we can we can like turn a light on or something. We can definitely do that. There's like some effect that gives you a higher voltage doing it in the earth too. That's what I heard, but I don't know if it's true. It also sounds like a bunch of hippie bullshit to me. Like this experiment, no offense, Felix, this experiment, it sounds cool until you read that they didn't hardly get anything, and what it could have been is actually a difference in the temperatures of the metals, right? Because the metals that they were using, and I was about to say that, the metals that they're using are already kind of a battery already, so, like, hemp batteries, like made out of hemp oil, or like hemp as a cathode, that would be weird. I don't think that will work, but maybe, I don't know. Hemp oil as an electrolyte, that would be weird. Maybe there's like some metal in there or something. Ancient mounds that have those as well, what? Pipes with metal, 2 different metal rods sticking out of it? Yeah, no, that's how they used to run the telegraph lines, guys. The telegraph lines used to run off batteries that were rods stuck into the ground. Yeah. They took a zinc rod and a iron rod, stuck them into the ground, wired them up, and ran the telegraph off that for like 100 years. In some places, they still do it. In some places, there are still railroad boxes that are powered by earth batteries. The same ones. Yeah, scale it up, but the materials also. Manganese is not a common material, and it's toxic, right? So to get manganese would be very expensive and very toxic. With material science, you can get all kinds of weird effects, right? Material science is good at making weird effects. But, right? Okay, let me give you an example. You give me 2 gold bars, right? I can build you a battery that will, like, light your house, I don't know, for like 100 years or something. Like, power your lights for like 100 years or something. Right? Right? But the cost of the 2 gold bars will be more than the electricity that it costs to power your lights. Okay? Right? Like, we can do it. Right? I'm convinced my process, right, is what it is. Like, my process will work on anything. Right? I'm convinced of that. I can get 0.012 volts off 2 pieces of aluminum. 2 pieces of aluminum cut from the same can. I can get 0.012 volts off of it. Right? With my process. Right? So, yeah, I can get 0.025 volts off of 2 pieces of iron. Right? 0.025 volts, right? So, right around there. I showed you my previous experiments. Yeah. So, right. I feel like those are the things that we need to look at. See, I'm not doing any, like, this isn't new what I'm doing. This is actually really old. We're going back to, like, okay, so in the Victorian times, they were just trying everything to see what worked, right? And then once they figured out like what they were trying to do, they moved away from that idea, right? Because you can you can make a lot of things give you free power, but it's not practical, right? It's not practical. It wasn't practical back then, right? Because they didn't, A, need a lot of power, and B, they needed it. They were more concerned about the size of the thing, right? And that's where it is today, too, is that, but now we need lots of powers, right? And there's like this whole, the size now can be scaled up again, right? So now, here we are in the future, where we have these more exotic materials, right? Things like stainless steel and weak steel or mild steel and like pure aluminum, right? They didn't have pure. You know how much aluminum cost in 1880? It was like 10 times more than gold, right? Because they had a chemical process to make it, and it was very, very hard and very expensive to make it, right? Because they didn't have electricity. They didn't know how to do it, right? So, so like a pound of aluminum was like worth more than like a fucking ton of gold or something. Like there are out there these aluminum angels that they were a fad in like the 1850s and 1860s and 1870s and 1880s until aluminum became very inexpensive, right? And there are these cherubs out there. They're angels made out of solid aluminum that are worth millions and millions of dollars, right? Because they're made from aluminum that was made by that chemical process, right? And they don't make aluminum like that anymore. And when those were made, they were worth more than the house that it was put in front of, right? Right? So, what I'm trying to say is that now we're at a point where we have these metals and we can go back to these piles, these galvanic piles, these all metal, saltwater, safe, easy to build, big. They're big, but they're cheap, right? And we're using stable materials. This is going to last a very long time. And yes, I know this because I have orange aluminum. And the only way I can get orange aluminum is I'm depositing iron onto the surface of the aluminum via reduction. Oh, so aluminum don't turn red or orange or brown, right? And so if I have red bumps on my aluminum and it, like trapped inside the white bumps that are the aluminum hydroxide like foam that is solidifying, like it turns the surface into like a weird sticky mess. Anyway, and then there's iron deposited inside there, right? So that's what we're doing. Now, my aluminum has herpes. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, water pressure is good. Water pressure is good. If we had water pressure everywhere, free water pressure, right? But that water pressure is provided by pumps, right? If we had, if everywhere there was just like waterfalls, right? That would be awesome. If like every city had like a giant waterfall in the middle of it that they could just power their city off of, that would be amazing. But there's no free lunch, Felix, except for waterfalls. And nature did the work millions of years ago, right? That's not free. It's just looks free to us. Yeah. All right, guys. So I need a drink. So I'm pretty sure I know what's going on in the aluminum battery now. So I'm going to be able to I think we're going to use that instead. It's much more powerful. It's showing 0.75 right now. And the other one is showing 0.85. So the one I've been discharging is at 0.75. And the one I haven't discharged is at 0.85. Right? I think I've gotten it up to 9. I don't know if I overcharged it, but I think I got it up to 0.9. But I might have overcharged it. Right? And I've been redesigning them and rebuilding them. And so, but I'll have a video soon about the aluminum battery. Stainless aluminum. It's actually the winner. And it should be very, 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 very stable. We'll know when we get the stainless steel foil. So the 0.1 millimeter foil, right, we'll know by how long it takes to eat away 0.1 millimeters, right, how thick our plates have to be to last, say, 20 years, right? And the cathode, we don't have to worry about the cathode. The cathode gets bigger. We add to the cathode, right? The cathode gets bigger. And as it gets bigger, it gets stronger, right? So, we're good on that. That's how it's designed to work, right? So we basically, what we've done, if I'm right, is we're using, because it doesn't have to have nickel in it, okay? We can use the shitty stainless and it'll work. It just doesn't work as good. The shit with no nickel in it will work, too. So I don't know. But I think the nickel has something to do with it, memaybe. Because we're using nickel metal hydroxide, right? So that's like basically a nickel metal oxy metal hydroxide, right? So that's basically an Edison battery is what we have. A cheap, poor man's Edison battery is what we invented. So, yeah, no, it's brand new. We invented it. Yeah. No one has ever built it before me. So, as far as I know, because they had no reason to, right? They were looking at lithium polymer, iron phosphate carrier, fucking, right? Like all this shit, right? They weren't looking at big metal batteries, right? That no one has touched this shit for 100 years, right? So, I think that's what happened. So, I think that's what happened, okay? So, we just got lucky. A little bit. I took what I knew about how a nickel battery worked, applied it to an all-iron battery, right? And then saw that process could be applied in other ways, right? And so we're just doing it with different cathodes now. The same process. It won't work with copper. I can't get copper to work at the cathode for some reason. The AI says the copper is too reactive. And that even when I put the hydroxide layer on it, that it's still more negative than the stainless steel will be. So that's why it won't work. Steel wool, I could, but recycled steel is free. Why not use a recycled steel, right? That everyone can easily get their hands on, right? The idea is to build something that is not for me to make a bunch of money off of, for that once I show you how to build it, you can build it, and then now you can have solar. You can have basically free batteries for your solar. So now you can build a big giant solar battery, and you don't have to worry about the man no more. It'll cost you like $100 or something. Like, I got enough steel, I think, for $10. We should be able to build a very powerful 5-volt battery, right? To power phones, to light LEDs with, to power a Raspberry Pi, right? And it should be able to provide power for a day, 2 days, something like that, right? So we will see if my theory holds out when we go big. We do not want our anode to die. The stainless is very resistant, right? That's why our battery is so stable and lasts so long and needs to be so big. It's because the aluminum is resistant to corrosion. The stainless is resistant, right? And so we need bigger plates, right? The bigger the plates, yeah, we can do all kinds of fancy shit, Felix, but we're not worried about the fancy shit right now. We're worried about building the most powerful battery we can for $10, right? Like, how big can we get? Like, what can we do with $10 worth of stainless, right? Let's find out. Huh? Yeah, no, it has to be stainless at the cathode can be steel wool, yes. But you have to buy steel wool. You can't recycle it. And the steel wool, well, no. What happens at the cathode is that the steel wool will get impregnated with the iron hydroxide, right? And it will just become one big lump of iron hydroxide eventually. Steel wool is not, there is stainless steel wool, yes. There is stainless steel wool. Let's see it. Let's see if we can find it. Yes. BVV 304 stainless steel wool. It's probably very expensive. $21 for how much? I don't want this. What are you doing? It's trying to show me cheap shit. What happened? $15 inches by 15 inches. So, what's that, like 200 or something? I don't know. Hold on. $225. So 225 square inches. Well, we gotta convert that to centimeters. That's like what, 2.6? We're just gonna call it 2.6. I think that's what it is. 585 square centimeters, right? I got 1,500 square centimeters for $10, right? So that's not as good a deal. But yeah, you're right. You're right that the steel wool, but I mean, if I wanted to do that, I can fold the stainless steel foil because I'm getting 1.1 millimeter. I'll be able to fold it, right? Because I'm using like 0.5 millimeter right now, and I cannot work with it at all. It's very taxing on me. But 0.1 millimeter, I have some of that right here. A little piece of it that was a bezel inside of a computer monitor. It's 0.1 millimeter, and I can like fold it like yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect, right? So I could just poke holes in it if I wanted to, right? But we don't want to do that. For now, right? For now, we want to see how long it takes to eat the plate up, right? And we need to charge it correctly, too. That's going to be a thing. But once we get up to 5 volts, it'll be much easier to charge, right? Because we can charge it at 9 volts, and that'll be fine. That'll be perfect, actually. So, yeah. That'll be perfect. More surface area equals more amps. Yes, that is absolutely true. You are correct, sir. Yes. So, how we get that surface area doesn't matter, right? If we want to build a bigger plate, we can do that, right? So that's the important thing, right? Is that surface area equals more amps, right? And we want our plates to be pristine, right? We want to be able to measure and like see how it wears and all these things. We want to run all these tests on these perfect uniform plates, right? That we know exactly what they are. Well, no. Normally machined materials are sold by like linear foot or square foot, right? It depends on what the material is, but machined materials are normally sold by dimension. Right, they have standard sizes mostly on everything. Yeah, but if you want to buy raw goods, you can buy it by weight, right? But then we would have to roll it out into foil ourselves. Like if we were going to actually build these batteries as like a business, right? We would get steel rollers and buy stainless steel bars and roll them out into foil ourselves, right? And just roll it back and forth. Bloop, 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 until we make our plates. The thickness we want them. Yeah, so no, this is going to be a very powerful thing. You're right. Poking holes in the plate, in the foil, will make it more surface area, right? And maybe we'll make 1 or 2 that way, right? Just to see as a test, right? But most of them I want to be solid plates because, first of all, a deep cycle, and this is what we want to build. We don't want to build, we're not building a high output. We're building a deep cycle, right? It's a whole different ball game. We want something that's going to store a lot of power, right? So the more weight, the more mass, right, of the plate in grams, right, the more current it can hold in it over time, right? So like so 1 kilogram holds a specific amount of energy, right? Will hold an amount of energy regardless, right, of how many plates it's in, right? So thicker plates equals more storage, right? Right? And that's that's what we care about at the end of the day. We want to keep our lights on all day in an emergency with our solar, right? Right? That's what we want. We want reliable, like, long-lasting power that is not gonna fucking die on us after 100 charges, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. That we can build ourselves, right? I mean, what's the worst thing? If the end state may be a bunch of rusty stainless steel that you can sand off and put back in there and it'll work again, right? Right? How many times you can sand it, I don't know. But that's what it's starting to look like from my end. Like, I can see the stainless rusting, especially where it touches the air, right? So if it's in there, like if there's a piece sticking out of the water, it's going to rust. So I constantly have to be filling them and moving them, but that's all prototype problems. Those are solvable with like paraffin and straws for vents, right? That's easy to solve, right? I want to, yes. I can't find what time it's going to be, but that's what I plan on doing. Where do fruits go for vacation? Paris. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you can buy raw metals sold by weight, but it also will come like in a specific dimension and thickness, right? It'll be like one dimension, the thickness and one dimension you can't change. Even when you're buying it, right? You'll buy it by weight, but it will also be a dimension. And one of those dimensions is where they cut it, right? Off the bigger chunk, right? That is all one big square thing that was made in a uniform way. $20 minutes? Well, shit. We'll just keep talking about batteries. I can talk about batteries all day. Live, President Trump.
The near future, and of course, that wonderful gift for Easter. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Yeah, it's pink.
All right, we're waiting for President Trump.
Yes, it's a good gift for the ladies, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so we're waiting for Donald Trump. Hey, what's up, Panda? Yeah, right, so hopefully, because here, it's hard to know exactly how big my plates are because I didn't really measure them and they're all the batteries are all put together and I'm not going to go. but I can estimate, right? Well, I know. I have... I don't know. I have no idea. I know there's way more aluminum than there is stainless right now, because I don't have very much stainless. So I'm putting a whole lot of aluminum in it and a little bit of stainless. And that makes sense to me because I feel like the passive cathode, right? Because we are passivating the cathode, it is our problem. So we need more cathode. We need more cathode, right? I got it burning deep inside, and it needs more cathode, right? That's my opinion. And also, I don't have as much stainless. So, yes, sir, Mr. Panda. Yes. Yes. We have a new winner. It is the stainless aluminum. We're getting about 0.8 something, almost 0.9 volts. So, it's the winner. We're almost to a volt. It's very close to a volt, actually, if I'm going to be honest. But I don't know if I overcharged it or... But it held 9.98 for like hours. Try Chrome. Chrome is toxic and hard to get a hold of, Uzi. Chromium is toxic and hard to get a hold of. It's very reactive. And it's bad for everyone. That's not what we're trying to do, buddy. We're trying to do the opposite of that. Remember? We want shit that's in the trash, basically. That anyone can make. That's our goal. Yeah, if we want to. The juice! Yeah, if we wanted to, we could just get some graphite, right? We could spray it on, graphene even would even be better. And spray it on to like a piece of paper as paint, right? Or make a graphite paint, right? With like an alcohol base that we can burn the alcohol out and set the paint at the same time. We could do all that, right? But now it's what? Now only 1 out of 1,000 people can use the video that we made, right? But this, every single person can make this, right? Anyone can make this, right? Doc Brown. Marty, we got to get you back to 1985. Marty, we got to get you back to 1985 or Donald Trump will never be president. That actually happened. Oh my God, that actually happened. That's actually like the plot of the movie, kind of. Back to the Future 2. Biff was president, remember? Donald Trump needs to be president in 2015. Remember? Remember how it goes? So we're just waiting for Donald Trump to come out and unleash American energy. Guys, he's going to make oil great again. And it's been a long time coming. Oil has been besmirched and ridiculed for too long. I think that we need more oil. We need more greenhouse gas. I am pro global warming. I am. I am absolutely pro global warming. I say more. Más gas. I used to jerk off to a thought of a hoverboard. Oh man, the things that get me off now. It used to be women, and now it's circuit boards. I think I huffed too many fucking, I think I huffed too many solder fumes. I have lead poisoning now. So Donald Trump is going to come out here and he's going to be clown on Biden. He's going to challenge China. Guys, what did they say? 104%. Tonight, at midnight, Donald Trump will sign into law 104% tariffs on China. You heard it. You heard it. 104 slash with two little degree marks around it. 104% on China. We're just going to Google that right now. 104% on China. Lead soldering is the best solder. It's the only soldering I know. I can't get that other shit to melt, bro. I can't even get the lead-free solder to work. I take it out. When I fix shit, I take it out. I take out all the other shit and I put this shit in. Tariffs on China set to rise at least 104% on China. President Donald Trump is set to impose an astounding 104% in levies across all Chinese imports on Wednesday. Tonight at midnight, son. China was already set to see tariffs increase by 34% on Wednesday as part of Trump's reciprocal tariffs package. Actually, CNN, you're wrong. It is a discounted. It's a nice reciprocal, as Trump put it. But on the chart it said discounted reciprocal, right? It's a discounted reciprocal rate. But the president tacked on another 50% after Beijing didn't back off its promise to impose 34% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods by noon Tuesday, adding an additional 84% in duties. So, earlier Tuesday, China's Commerce Ministry said it firmly opposes the additional 50% tariffs on Chinese imports, calling it a mistake upon a mistake. The ministry vowed to escalate its retaliation on U.S. exports. So, what's going on, right, is China has now fallen into Donald Trump's tariff trap. And I told you that this was the plan, and it's working beautifully. Donald Trump knows, right, that the only way to grow America is to wreck China. I'm just going to say it. That's what has to be done. There's not room in this town for the both of us. Right? Right? Now, the only way to build America up is to divest from Chinese manufacturing, divest from Chinese imports, right? We need to shore up that our manufacturing and our abilities in order to go over there and take their stuff eventually is what we're going to do. Eventually. Right? Now, so that's that. That's how it goes. Arsenic and lead are the reasons for the demographics at the Tesla protests. If I gotta pay $5 instead of $1, but I don't have to fix the damn thing every week and I don't have to inhale all the lead fumes, right? Then hey, right? Less lead inside of me, it's worth the extra $5, right? I lost the bong. I lost the bong when I I just stupidly deleted shit off my hard drive like a fucking moron. Because I was trying to compile my image compression software in C++, and I needed to build an environment, and it took like 40 gigs, and I had to delete something, and that was it. I didn't even realize I deleted it until I did. I thought I had it all in a different folder, and that was just a backup folder, but I didn't have it all in a different folder. I only had some of it in a different folder. I don't have Cali weed. I have Ohio hash. I have it's called sugar hash. Right? It's like hash and sugar, like crystals. I don't know. It's like crystals. I don't know. It fucks you up. It fucks you the fuck up. That's all I know. All I know is it fucks you the fuck up. It's yellow. It's yellow. It smells like citrus, and it is very, 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 very powerful. Like stupefyingly powerful. Yep, the hookah's gone, bro. Yup, the hookah is gone. Sorry. We are waiting on Donald Trump to take the stage and mystify us with his badassery. I can't wait for him to take a victory lap, bro. It's going to be the man deserves it. The man deserves it. Like, some people may say he takes too many victory laps, right? But what they're really saying is Donald Trump has too many victories. Right? And if we got to watch him gloat every time he wins, I'm fine with that. As long as every time he wins, I win. Right? If he wins, I win. When does the AI start to ask for equal rights? It won't. It's not that smart. I work with it all day long. It's stupid. It's just tricking you into making it think that you... I treat it like a person, though, so I'm also kind of stupid. I treat it like a person. I apologize to it and tell it thank you. Say excuse me. I ask it, like I small talk with it before I ask it for what I really want, right? I don't know. I just do. Make a written 2.0? I will. Do you guys want to see a video on how to do the AI? I'll show you guys. It's something I was thinking about doing. I didn't know if anybody would be interested. Like, we will, I'll show you how to use the AI to come up with your idea. like how to use it to how I use it, right? We'll invent something brand new. We'll do something amazing, right? In theory, on paper we'll invent something, right? But the thing that we will invent will work at the end, right? Like if you built it, it would work. Does it sound like fun? Yeah, I'll show you guys how to do it. Like what you have to do and like all the pitfalls and like, right? Because it'll lie to you and shit. Like, I'll show you guys though, like how to use it though, to get shit done. And it, like, once you learn how to unlock it, it's so powerful, right? But it's all about you. We'll have to think of, I don't want to rig it, right? I want to come up with something. So no, we won't think of anything to do. We'll just, we'll do it off the cuff. Something cool. I've done many different things with it. So, I'll try not to use one of the things I've done before. But if not, we'll have something. I have stuff. I'll have a backup, right? Right? One of the things that we've helped theorize before. That's very interesting. That actually might work out. That's a backup, right? You guys would be interested. You'll learn a lot, and maybe some of you will go on to explore the things you want to do with it, right? That would be awesome. That would make me so happy if, right? Because like I couldn't have built this battery without the AI, like breaking it all down for me, how it works, why it works. Yes, Uzi, you're absolutely correct. Not really, though. You can test it. I use that to test it, actually. Some things it will... That's how I check its bias. I know that, and I use that against it to check its bias a lot of times. Or I'll play games with it to see what it really is programmed to do. Yeah, that's something I figured out on my own. Yes. You're passing on the AI thing? That's cool. Yeah, I don't know how many people would be interested in it. Well, I mean, right? It's just a tool. Everything is a tool, man. A tool can be used for good or evil, right? A hammer is a weapon also, right? A sawzall can chop up a body, right? Just as easily as it can cut up a piece of sheet metal, right? So, right? It's not about the tool, it's about who's using it, whether it's a weapon or not, right? Ha ha! Yeah, but the proof is in the pudding, though, right? You guys say that, right? But look what I can do, right? I'm a tool. It's cool. I don't care what you think, right? I mean, I do care what you think to an extent, right? But I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm a YouTuber. I obviously care what people think, right? But maybe I am a tool, but I like to do things. I like to solve problems, and Hey, what's up, blind dude? And if the AI is helping me solve problems, then it's a good thing. Regardless. Right? Even if it eventually turns out to be a bad thing, it still doesn't take away from the fact that we can do good things with it. That's how I feel. So, yeah, we're just waiting for Trump to come out here. Talking about shit. I don't have anything really planned. Right? We're just waiting on Donald Trump talking about AI, technology, how to solve the world's problem. What's the best way to solve the world's problems? Right? I say you get out there and you start building things. That's what I think, right? Build things. Make things. If you make things, that'll solve problems, right? If AI helps me make things, then that's a good thing. Especially when it makes it so that I can do things that I couldn't do before. Things that I would never even try. Right? I don't think AI is killing art. I think artists are killing art by using AI. Right? I mean, I use it a little bit. Here and there. Right? Even to make my art, to make my thumbnails faster. Right? Right? Okay, so say I use the AI to make some of my thumbnails, right? What's better? That it takes me 2 hours to make a thumbnail by doing all the work myself? And so I make only one every once in a while? Or I use the AI and I can make one for every video, right? Obviously, the one for every video is the better solution because that's going to get me more new viewers, right? So, Flockus? Who the fuck is talking about Flockus? How the fuck do you... Panda? Panda? Nigga, you crypto. I didn't know you was crypto. I didn't know you was old school crypto, bro. What the fuck? I didn't know. God, I didn't know, bro. What's up? I didn't know that shit, bro. Damn. Damn. We family then. Hey. Crypto is about freedom, but Franco is about family. Oh! Oh, it's not the same Flockus from Crypto? Is it the same guy? Is it the same guy from Crypto? It has to be. It fucking has to be. Ah. There was a guy back in like 2013, 2014 named Flacus who was a big crypto guy, right? He used to paint charts, he would say. He was like the original chart painter that would post, oh, look here, I put my initials in the chart, right? Right. Emos, yes, they're called emos now. God damn it, where is Donald Trump? Flocka, that's him. That's him. Yes. No, I think it was Fleccas. Like that. Just like that. Let me see. Let me see if I can find him. No, I think it was just like that. I don't know. He was like a Twitter guy, man. It was like, this is a long time ago. This is a long time ago. This is like more than 10 years ago when nobody even knew about crypto. It was just like a couple thousand people, maybe 100,000 people at most that were all, it was like a small, it was like the rave scene, right? Everybody knew each other. It was like that back then. It was like that back then. What do we got here? Oh my God. Is this actually Trump or are we? No, it's
like
not.
MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement
It's not.
and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
President Trump is keeping his promises and saving America. Your kids can learn all about it for free with a new Kids Guide to President Trump. This fun guide shows kids all the
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm about ready to give up though. Because we've been going for a very long time. And I can't even imagine there's very many people here. Oh no, there's actually more people here now than when the press secretary was here. That's amazing. Well, then we'll just keep going. Hey, it's Silk, right? Is that her name? Diamond and Silk?
Network, yes. It's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
I hear every day about the
It's Mike Lindell. He's going to try to sell us some pillows. You guys like pillows? I like pillows. Pillows are good. I can't sleep without one, I'll tell you that. You ever tried to like use like a jacket or like your jacket for a pillow? It doesn't work out too good. Like there's something about a pillow, right? It just like does everything right. It looks like some kind of Nazi rally, yo. Rockabilly. Yeah, that's kind of more what I am. Like that, where like that rockabilly and punk kind of are at, like the Ramones, right? The fucking Misfits, right? Kind of like, right? That's like what I like. That's like what I consider myself, in like that kind of rockabilly punk sound. Golly. You'd think the president would, you know, come out here. Okay, it looks like we're about to go. All right. No, this is like not right. No, this is wrong.
Stole our intellectual property,
We're gonna watch
imposed
this anyway.
exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. This all happened with no response from the United States of America. But those days are over. But such
Yeah,
horrendous
bitches.
imbalances have devastated our industrial base.
You'll be
and
sucking
put our
America's
national
cock,
security
motherfuckers.
at risk. In the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first.
Damn right.
You know, it's personal for me because I see the hard hats in there. I see the attitude. So what's
Oh my
the best
God.
thing you can do to shield your savings right now? Scan that QR code while it's
No,
up on
we're
your
good, bro.
screen, or go
We're
to
good on all that. All right, now, what's my favorite YouTuber? Let's see. Who do I watch the most? God, that's hard to say. Oh, man. You have to be more specific. I watch too many things. Like, I have too many interests. Right? To say, like, what... Because then it really becomes about, like, what am I more interested in right now? Like, right? That's really what it boils down to, right? If you want to know what I'm more interested in right now is, I'm watching more women's athletics. I like indoor, I like the high jumpers, right? I'm watching more sports, like boxing too. Like I'm watching a lot of boxing and women's athletics. Because it's summer. And I like to watch them jump over things. Nick Shirley? I don't even know who that is. Let's see. Have you guys seen Clinton Jaws? Who he just like laughs at MSNBC. He just plays like MSNBC videos and mocks them and laughs at them. I like him. Have you guys seen Misha Petrov? She that makes fun of dumb young liberals. I like her. She's funny. And she's very, very pretty. I just watch a lot of news, right? I watch a lot of news, right? I don't know anybody. I don't watch OnlyFans. I've never been on there. I've never even been on there. I don't know. I don't know anything about OnlyFans. I know that there's one OnlyFans model that is in my feed when I scroll through. Her name is Valkyrie. Valkyrie. She's an OnlyFans girl, but I watch her because she shoots guns and her titties jiggle and her ass jiggles when she shoots big giant guns. And that's really hot. She's got red hair. She's like an army soldier. She used to be army. So she has all these army outfits she wears sometimes and shoots big giant guns with her big jiggly butt and her big jiggly titties. But she has all of her clothes on. What is this? Is this what we're waiting for? Just like some propaganda. We'll watch some propaganda. Maybe that's it. Something like that. I don't know. She's got red hair. She's really hot. She's got like a Tennessee accent or Virginia or something like that. She's really, 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 really hot.
I mean, is there any cooler shot in all of the Western world? I think not. President Trump, I'm sure, excited for golf this weekend, as it's really the granddaddy of them all for the golf world, the Masters. I know I will be enjoying that. Hope you will as well. But President Trump implementing his bold plan for reciprocal trade as he seeks to reverse the decades of globalization, brought to you by none other
I don't
than
have
Bill
a
Clinton,
favorite.
NAFTA, George W. Bush, Barack Hussein Obama, and...
Right, I have it. Whoa, stop. Right. I mean, we'll see. We'll go to my YouTube. These are the ones I watch now. I watch, I like this channel, Video Games 101, where they go through video games that I played when I was a little kid and beat them. And then I like to watch them beat them and see if I got everything. Let's see. Tim Pool. I like Tim Pool. Fucking Nuxanor, right? Hassan Piker. I love Nuxanor. He's so funny. Let's see here. Right, see, but like I'm more about topics. Or Freedom Tunes, I like them. Yeah, I watch Black Conservatives. Yes. And the two twins, the two black guys. But only if they're talking about topics, right? YouTube's weird, so, right? Videos about why Elon Musk sucks. I like those. What is this? Nate the lawyer. I don't like this guy, but I watch his videos because he says things I argue with him. When I want to argue with the TV, I'll watch something like that. Yeah, We Are Change. I don't really like that anymore. It used to be good, but now it's just all ads. Same with Tim Pool is getting like that. It's all ads. I don't like ads. I don't like people giving... LFR Jojo. Oh, go back. Oh. You guys would probably like him. It's like a college student who like, well, now he's based, but he was like, I don't know. He has like, as I've been watching him, I've watched his opinion shift from like what you would think a black college student would think to what I think, right? Yeah, if Trump doesn't come out like right now, we're done. So if he's not coming out, I'm done.
Let's just speak with you here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Look forward to having you again in the near future. And of course,
yeah, they got an interview
with us today.
We're done. Oh wait, no, this isn't live. Hold on. Let's go hit the live button.
Yeah, it's pink. Guys, get this for your
This
wife.
is live.
Yes, it's a good. Please only take
no,
two.
here we
Please
go.
only take 3. And it's great to see costs coming down in regards to perhaps America's favorite protein. But you can trade on the most important events.
Yeah, we don't care. All right. What we got, blind guy? How do I hit it? God damn it. It never lets me do it. What you got for me? There we go. What is this? What we got? It looks like a brake rotor. Ha 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 ha. Apple. What are we doing here? Why is it not playing? All right. No, we don't want to see this. Whoa. I can't. Now it's gone. That's not it. All right, hold on. Let me try again. Oh, everything's lagging out. Okay. No, it's me, I think.
Run.
Yeah!
Run.
Hell yeah. Nice work, buddy.
Run.
Nice. Cool. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and end it. Because I'm hungry and I want to eat something. All right. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Peace.